Welcome back to Echoes and Edges, the Broken and Beautiful podcast. The Broken and Beautiful is a collective of healers on the hunt for beauty, meaning, and transformation. I'm Patria, your host for Echoes and Edges and the owner of The Broken and Beautiful. I'm so glad that you're here. If you joined us for part one, we ended by asking a simple question. What if there really is more available to us than survival? Today, Lindsay invites us into one of the most surprising parts of her own healing journey, not through another book or another therapy technique, but through sourdough bread, plants, soil, creation, and the slow rhythms of ordinary life. As you'll hear, creativity isn't simply about making beautiful things. Sometimes it's the language our souls begin speaking before we have words for what's changing inside us. Let's jump back into the conversation with Lindsay. We've talked before, and you've talked about your inner world coming into like physical expression.
Yes.
What has that looked like for you? What would you be willing to share about that?
Oh, it has looked many ways. So where to start? I think sourdough might have been the first place I recognized it happening, unbeknownst to me, and then at a point realized what was going on. Sourdough has to go through such a process to become the bread that we love and want to eat and want to smell and want to see. It has so many beautiful features, but it has to go through, fermentation, stretching, folding, cold proofing. It's so long, and there's nothing about that process. If we were that dough, I don't think that we would like, if the end goal is beautiful, edible bread. The process is so up and down and unpredictable. So there's something in that as I was learning how to get bread on the table, I met part of myself in that. So that internal experience of not understanding why the sitting was the doorway to freedom. It didn't feel like that, I feel like there's something of that in the sourdough that, leaving it under a towel for 24 hours feels like, what are we doing here? Nothing's changing.
That's interminable.
Yeah. It takes forever. The stretching and the folding is way too much. I don't know. It's hard also sometimes depending on how much flour I put in the dough. Yes. It's challenging, especially I don't have very good hands. So stretching it, folding it on top of itself over and over. And I just think how much angst healing can take, and facing, the things in us that need movement and need care, and we don't want to look, and we don't want to feel, and we don't want to name. There's just something that feels similar in that process. So, I just found myself actually hanging out, probably had some bad loaves of bread because there was too much folding and stretching, but this feels true. But as I could stay with it physically, I felt care internally and permission to stay with it internally. So for me, it felt so good to have something physical on my counter that was also representing something I couldn't name or hold, I don't know if this feels like it's making no sense, but my insides
it's making so much sense. I have so many images popping through my head as you're talking, and one of them is the window of tolerance. I mean, it feels like you are describing this sort of metaphor. I wouldn't think of bread as a metaphor for a window of tolerance, but kind of. It, the way that you're describing is obviously we don't, work our emotions over that way, but they are worked over that way. They have to be folded and sit and punched down. I don't know if you punch down sourdough or not, but and put in whatever the steps are that you're talking about. The process of growing our ability to be hopeful. The process of growing our ability to endure beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, beauty is rich.
Yes.
I mean, it's a rich experience. And so that just strikes me as a really beautiful metaphor to explain what it is that's happening in our, maybe our brain, our psyche, wherever our emotions or whatever parts of our brain are working together for that particular emotion at that particular time. That's what's coming to my mind while you're talking. And you never know if you're going to get a beautiful loaf at the end of it. I mean, I assume eventually you get better at, you know, kind of predicting.
Yeah. Yeah. You have some idea how it feels and all the steps you did, what it might create. But no, I would still say it's a little bit of guesswork.
That's amazing. And so full of life, you know. What else? I mean, so there's the sourdough. What else comes to your mind when you're thinking about this?
Yes. Well, plants. I have a couple of my favorites. This one's a real favorite, a prayer plant. And I love to propagate plants. So taking off a piece and making it into its own plant. You know, the goal is to get it to grow roots. So, and just taking a plant out, giving it a new pot, new soil, breaking up its roots. You know, that is just a physical experience that I feel mirrors, you know, the inside, especially midlife when things aren't working anymore. The pot and the dirt, you know, have to go. We have to have a new container.
Oh my goodness. Isn't that the truth? There's something too, I guess I just am imaging while you're talking about dirt and the connection that dirt gives us with life itself. You know, we started talking about those words are full of life and food and dirt. I mean, these are the things of our physical life that support our physical life, right?
Yes. They're elements of nature and creation that I think when we connect to, there's something there, you know, for us to hold us when we don't have words or understanding or a path. Science and nature have that path. Like they're doing it in all their ways all the time. And so for me, like in baking and in plants, I've been able to connect to that. And it just reassures me, like forces so much bigger than me, you know, are at play. And I'm also part of that. Like,
well, wouldn't you say that that's what your structure of rigidity and you know, staying small was trying to get to? That's what it's trying to create is what the dirt and the food actually give you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a freedom,
so
like,
beautiful.
to let yourself go in those processes, find yourself in the processes. Yeah.
Do you think creating helps you understand yourself better or yourself differently than before?
My knee jerk is understand. No, I want to say no.
Okay.
But connect with, be with, yes. But
what a good distinction. Yeah. It's almost like you're pushing back on the idea of predictability, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the more I see, the more I don't know.
That's the truth.
So, yeah, I mean, my Enneagram number 2B1. Like, the more I see, the more I'm like, I'm not sure I am what I've always thought. So, I'm not sure that the creating brings that, but it does bring me connection. There are moments I feel like I know what this is. I'm not sure what all of it is, but I know
what's
this part of
and
me.
Can you say more? Like, I feel like there's more there if you would wish to say it, and if not, that's enough.
Yeah, well, I think this is probably desire.
Okay.
Like, this in me is something that I want. And when we have to stay small, we can't want very much.
That is the truth.
And that's really scary to want more. And so if I'm creating, I'm probably connecting with a desire to be part of something, to belong, right? To play, like to benefit and to give. All of that is there. So that's what I mean. Like I connect to that and I'm like, okay, this is living. I don't really know what it means or what's going to happen, but this is living.
It's mysterious. Yeah. There's not really a lot of understanding in that in terms of, math.
Yeah. Which is why there's a process from going from scarcity stuck to mystery, because who would make that jump? Right. We have to go slow and realize, oh, this is actually a beautiful thing and I'm safe here.
Well, yeah. So what is it about mystery that gives you that feeling, like, yeah, what is it about that idea?
Well, there's no like pride and mystery. There's no, I've got this. There's no,
oh, yeah, that's so true.
Let me explain this. It's just wonder. Yeah, which is scary when,
totally.
Yeah, it's not safe and,
yeah, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it goes exactly opposite of what our survival is about. And just to be fair, survival is what it is on purpose. Like, for anybody that finds yourself caught in survival structures and really with genuinely no way out, like blessings, yes, because it is a resource. Mm-hmm. To be able to play and to find these things out. I mean, we have to have resources to be able to do that,
Yes.
And so if there's a listener listening who just feels like this is a million miles away from your life, please take what fits you and adapt it to your life, because there is a way in which you are made to create and live abundantly, mm-hmm. no matter where you find yourself. And it makes me think, and I've told this story a little bit before, and it seems to come up in my conversations about creativity generally. But there was a few years that my husband and I were going to Haiti for some mission trips and doing some medical mission stuff. And one of these particular trips, our next door neighbors went with us. And it was, to this day, I mean, this has been 15, 20 years ago, whatever. And our kids still talk about it. I mean, it was just such a meaningful time. But on that trip, we saw, I'm going to put this, it's such a privileged thing to say it was such a meaningful trip, because what I'm about to say is, the truth is, in that developing country where there's a lot of instability, there's not as much infrastructure as we have, food is scarce. There were children eating dirt cakes. That's what they had for food. Their mother lovingly made them dirt cakes and served them dirt cakes, And so I just think, if you happen to be a person ever that can't identify even with the luxury of having time to make sourdough bread or propagate plants or do a podcast recording, we are for you. And whatever that looks like for you, we want you to glean from this what fits for your life. And I just don't know why that's coming up so strongly, but I just want to mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay, would you want to add anything to that before
I think it's beautiful, and I don't think it has to be anything large. Our breath is creativity, and if we're alive, we have it. And connecting to the smallest versions. I mean, even our skin, is creation. It's living and breathing.
Skin is our biggest organ. Is our skin. Yeah.
And we can connect to those things, even dirt, right? If we're
That's right.
Dirt cakes.
That's right.
So I think that even in the smallest, and that's where it has to start, the smallest ways are actually the biggest.
Because Like, say more.
Well, because we can access it.
Yeah,
When
that's right. Yeah,
so
that's
big
right.
we can't digest it, what's the point? When it's tiny and we can fully see and feel something tiny, it's ours.
Yeah, we can metabolize it and use it. I often think about these, like we talk about the idea of taking a big bite, like my eyes were bigger than my stomach, or even just in a conversation, well, I bit off more than I can chew or whatever. And that applies here too. And where, especially if desire gets a little bit of like a say for the first time in a long time, it can want more really fast. And so a lot of people come in to like coaching that I do, or to whatever this experience is where they're, risking hope maybe for the first time in a long time. But they can want to just finish, get done, get through it. How do I get to the other side of this?
Yes.
And so I think what you're saying about small breathing steps is so good. And it's the hardest work, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't love this question because it could sound really religious. But the question is, has creation taught you something about God's character? But I think I would just say about God. Has this abundance or this movement or this transformation or healing taught you something about God that you didn't know, that words couldn't teach you?
That's a really good question. And to have words to explain it. I mean,
yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I can feel inside me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
I have a story to tell.
Feel
free to edit it if it doesn't fit. But
let's go.
I love the sky and cannot see it from my home that I live in now. So I'm always like, is there an opportunity to see a sunrise or a sunset? I will take it because it's not something that I get to see easily. So I set apart 24 hours to go stay by myself somewhere and process a transitional season. And I went somewhere I knew I would be able to see the sky. And I told God, you see me doing this. I feel like I'm obeying. I would really like to see some sky. The first night, not a cloud in it. It was still beautiful as it would be, but not what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And I felt really frustrated with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you could make this happen in my belief system.
Yeah.
The next morning, I get up for sunrise. Same thing, not a cloud in the sky, still beautiful, but disappointed. And I felt him whisper, because he always whispers the important things, say, I set everything in motion for sunrises to happen, but I sit back and watch. Would you like to sit with me?
Oh.
It takes my breath away. Yeah. That piece of who he is, I don't think he could have given me pre-creating with him. But in that moment, it's like my heart opened up to see such different character. And I don't have words. I can't tell you what that God is, but it's not one who has to control. And that was not a God I knew before that moment.
Oh my goodness. That invitation. Say that again. Will you sit back and watch with me?
Yeah, he says, I set everything in motion, like all the science that needs to be there for this whole sunrise, sunset thing to happen. I did that. And now I sit back and watch. Would you like to watch with me? I don't know that I want a theologian to run that through. I'm not, that was my experience in my moment, but that is what I have learned of God, is whatever's in that. He's not about controlling it or performing or forcing it. The beauty, it was so inviting.
Yeah.
Inviting.
That's it. It's invitation. And I think that is it is theology. I mean, that is theology. And I'm sure it could be debated, but why would it be? That's what I come back to, is that these are the moments that the veil thins and we touch heaven and we touch this experience with the divine, with God. And it reminds me of a story too. So I'll share a story too about invitation, where I don't know if I've ever told you this, Lindsay, but I used to go to sleep with Romans 8 open on my face.
You did.
I did.
It's amazing. Osmosis.
I was trying to get, therefore there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. For the law of the Spirit of life set them free from the law of sin and death. And I would put it on my face and I would just like, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. As I was kind of coming out of this reductive religious, experience that I had grown up with, where I just always felt in trouble by God. Like Jesus has always been my friend. God is another story in the way I would just, again, we're not going to talk theology, just experience. This is the way I experienced the other than me that created me. And one night I'm doing my thing, trying to get my guilt to go away, my enmeshed guilt. And I fell asleep like that. And about 5 o'clock in the morning, I heard God whisper, come pray, come sit with me. And I'm like, no, I'm too tired. And I said no to him a fair amount in the early days. Just like, I don't know why. I just said no. I'm like, no, it's where I could use my no, I guess. And so the next morning I felt so guilty about not obeying. I didn't obey him and go do the thing with him in the early morning. And so I got myself up, I set my alarm, I went downstairs, I sat in my chair and I closed my eyes and I said, I'm so sorry. And he whispered, it's just an invitation. It's just an invitation, right?
Yes, it gives me chills.
I know, it changed my brain.
Yeah,
that
the freedom in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Like, wait, what? Like, you're not mad at me?
It's not a demand?
Yeah. Like, if you said it, it's not an exhortation that then we're going to create systematic theology about it. It was like, no, I want to be with you.
Yes.
And I'm not mad at you if you don't want to get up at 5. Like there was something like you described that shifted in my brain with that. And I think that those experiences with God cannot be overstated. They cannot be overstated because some of us don't have access, especially trauma survivors who might have a whole host of people around them, but internally are so locked down. Don't have access to another person that's that safe. And in my experience, God has met us there I've seen that over and over and over again. And that maybe is how I would say I've experienced something different of God. I'm answering my own question, but I love this conversation. It's
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That moment inside where it's more about his love than it is about what we're doing or what we can bring or what we're not doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like being with. Being with. Like, hey, I made you. Can I be with you? Like the sunset. Yeah. I love that. So beautiful. One of the things I love most about this conversation is that Lindsay never treats creativity like a performance. Instead, she talks about participation with creation, participation with God, participation with our own becoming. There's something profoundly healing about remembering that we don't have to manufacture transformation. Sometimes we simply learn to cooperate with it. Next time, we'll take this conversation even deeper. We'll explore why receiving can feel so much harder than giving, how trauma shapes our ability to trust ourselves, the role of meaningful rituals in healing, and what grace begins to feel like when it moves from an idea into an embodied experience. It's one of my favorite parts of our conversation, and I hope you'll join us.